So here we are, back in Dr. EKG's therapy room. Michael and Mercy have had their week to themselves. It's now time for their next therapy session. So as soon as they get in, they get the pleasantries out of the way. Dr. EKG is asking them how everything has gone, how the week was for them. And Michael tells her, look, I'm not going to lie to you. After the last therapy session we had, we went back home and we were arguing again about this issue of her seeing Marie, her meeting Marie, her having a conversation with Marie. I personally don't think it's a good idea. I feel like if you go digging for something, even if there isn't necessarily something, you're going to find something to be mad about, something to be hurt about. I don't think this is a good idea. Mercy quickly cuts him and is like, of course you wouldn't think it's a good idea. You clearly do not want me to sit and speak with this woman because perhaps you were saying things to her you should have not been saying. And he keeps quiet. Dr. KG is just like, okay, let's just pause for a second. Pause. This is going, again, a way I just feel is not conducive to the therapy and the healing of this. So how about we try something a bit different here? Michael, Mercy, I would like us to engage in role playing because what I'm noticing here is that there is a lot of combative behavior and language, and you guys are so disconnected in your communication. You're listening, but you're not quite understanding. And then the next person responds, and then the next person reacts, and then there's another reaction. So I want us to get to a point where we're able to hear each other and simmer and absorb that information, digest that information. So what we're going to do is, Michael, I'm going to play Mercy. You and I are going to have a conversation, and then Mercy, I'm going to play Michael, you're going to be Mercy, and we're going to have a conversation, just so that we can better understand each other. What I'm going to ask is, while I'm having these conversations, the other sits to the side, you listen in, you watch, you pay attention, and you listen to what is being said. But please do not interrupt. No interjecting, just do not disturb the process. So when I'm speaking to Mercy, Michael, please don't say anything. Vice versa, when I'm speaking to Michael, Mercy, please don't say anything. Are we okay? Are you guys comfortable with that? And they both agree. Then Dr. KG says, let me start with you, Michael. So Mercy gets up and she sits to the side, and now she is listening in on the conversation. So she's sitting here, and then it would be Dr. EKG or Michael and Dr. EKG, and she's watching. She's getting ready to listen. And so Dr. EKG looks at Michael and she says, just take a deep breath. You're going to answer me honestly. I'm your wife right now. You answer me the way, whatever comes to your heart, to your spirit. Don't worry about Mercy. It's you and I. Let's talk. So take a deep breath, and he, okay. And she says, just honest. There's no wrong answer. Speak from your heart. Okay? And he says, okay, he agrees. And she begins the questioning. She says to him, are you happy with me? And he says, very, very, very happy with you. And then she says, what made you pick me? Why me? Prior to us dating, even getting married, you had never really gone for my type, so why me? And Michael doesn't even hesitate answering that question. He says, when I walked into the room, you were by far one of the most beautiful women I've seen in my life. And when I got to know you and got to speak with you, I realized there was so much more than your looks. You are wholesome, you're amazing, you're strong, you're smart. I fell in love with the woman. I fell in love with you, your nature, what you're about. That's why I fell in love with you. Every other woman before that, they weren't even a factor when I met you. I fell in love with you. And Mercy is listening in on this, and Dr. KG is nodding her head. And she says, and physically, how was our intimacy? How were we together? And he says, physically, we're amazing. Our chemistry, our bedroom chemistry is amazing. The intimacy is there. It's up there. I wish we could be a lot more intimate, but I'm happy. I'm good. And so Dr. EKG says, but if you were so happy, why were you so willing to share that intimacy with another woman, knowing how much I valued it, how much it means to me? And this is where now he starts feeling comfortable. At this point, Mercy is looking at him like, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. I cannot understand why you would go and you would betray me this way. And so now she's looking and he can feel her eyes on him. Like, you better answer this question. I'm listening. And he says to her, you know, again, we have this very great life, and I love being with you. I love being your husband. I love the fact that we're such team players. You're smart, you're doing your thing, and so am I. But there came a point where I just stopped feeling needed in this relationship. I'm a man. I want to feel needed. I'm supposed to be the protector and the provider and be the head of this dynamic. And I often feel like you don't need me. I feel like I'm just almost a spare wheel in this marriage, and yet there's only two of us. I feel like you just don't need me. And it's a very terrible feeling, especially as a man, to just not feel needed. And unfortunately, Marie made me feel needed. Not just wanted, but needed. And at this point, Mercy is looking at him. She's hurt. Oh, she's hurt. She's hurt. Listening to her husband talk about how another woman made him feel needed. She is hurt. And so Dr. Ikeji is nodding her head. She's listening carefully to Michael. And she says, so then why didn't you tell me? Remember, she's still playing Mercy at this point. So she says, so why didn't you tell me? And he says, I tried. And then she says, okay, let me be more specific. Why didn't you tell me about Marie? And he said, because I love you. And she says, you see, and this is the thing that, again, I'm struggling to wrap my mind around. It's not that I don't want to understand you and that I don't hear the words coming out of your mouth. I'm struggling to understand how you could say you love me and in the same breath be willing to compromise, to sacrifice our marriage. How you could be so willing to hurt me. Were you not thinking about me when you did what you did? And Michael responded. He looked down, very ashamed of himself, and he looked back up at Dr. Ikeji and he said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to say it. I love you. That's the only thing I know to say. I love you. It's true. It's how I feel. And Dr. Ikeji again asks Michael, why were you not thinking about me? When you did what you did with Marie, were you not thinking about me? And Michael looks back up and he kind of looks over to Mercy. And Dr. Ikeji says, Michael, keep it here with me. It's just you and I talking. And he says, in that situation, in that moment, I was being very selfish. I was thinking about myself. It's not that I was not thinking about you. It was that I was really thinking about myself. And she says, thank you. Thank you. And Dr. Ikeji ends that little role play there. And then she says to Michael, how are you feeling? And he lets her know that, yeah, it hurts him to say these things out loud, but he feels like he's been heard. And she says, okay. And so she asks them to please swap positions. And now Mercy comes and sits down. And she reiterates to Michael, please remember, Michael, the rules, please do not disrupt, do not interject. Allow Mercy to have her say. She kept quiet. So now, you do the same. Please just honor and respect this process. And he agrees. And then she says, okay, Mercy, please take a deep breath. This is your opportunity to also be heard. Take a deep breath. Let's start again. Are you okay? Are you ready to start? And she says, yes. And then she says, okay, Mercy, why do you make me feel, or why do you behave like you are not needed? Like I am not needed. Is that how you feel? And Mercy says, absolutely not. Of course I need you. My not, calling you when a light is busted, or calling a plumber to come to the house to fix a sink or something is not because I don't value you or I don't think you're capable. It's because I don't want to stress you. I see how hard you work, and I don't ever want you to feel like in this household I can't do anything without you. I want you to know that I'm also here to pull my weight. I don't want you to feel like I'm also just this thing sitting on your shoulder all the time. That's why I do it. And Dr. Ikeji is so, she's really hearing it, and she's at this moment hoping that Michael's listening so he understands that this was never about trying to hurt you or make you feel unwanted. This was very much about not wanting to stress you. Mercy thought she was protecting you. And so she says, okay, and Mercy, do you ever regret marrying me? Do you ever wish you had married a Nigerian man? And Mercy says, absolutely not. Before you came to Abuja, I had dated a few Nigerian men, and if I wanted to be with one, I would have been with one. You are the person I want to be with. You are the person I love. You are that for me. And Dr. KG, as Michael says, and the intimacy, were you happy? Are you happy with how we are? And she says, yes. And he says, then she says, and do you still love me? And she says, yes, I do. And then she asks, do you still want to be married? And she says, yes, I still do want to be married, but I just don't know how to get past all of this. It has hurt me to my absolute core. And it's not that I'm not trying, and it's not that I don't want to move forward and move on. It's that I don't know how. This is just too painful. And so she then says, and what would it take for you to just let this go and to move on? And she says, again, I want to have a conversation with Marie. I'm not here to fight your ex or to make the situation worse. I simply want to have a conversation with her so that I can get a few things off my chest and I can understand things a bit better. Because right now, in my mind, there's so much going on. The what ifs, was this said, so many questions that I don't feel you're quite answering. And I feel Marie will give me better clarity. And so at this point, Michael is shaking his head. He's absolutely shaking his head and he's huffy. And, Dr. Keji kind of looks at him like, please don't interrupt the process. And then she says, thank you very much, Mercy. How are you feeling? And she says, I'm also feeling like I've been heard. And then she has them sit back together and she says, how are you both feeling? And they both express themselves. And Michael brings up the fact that, Mercy, I get that you want to meet Marie, but I still don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to help this relationship. I don't think it's conducive to the healing process. And Mercy interrupts, but how do you know what's conducive to the healing process? The only reason we're having to heal is because of something you did. So quite frankly, I also, if we're going to talk about feelings, don't feel you have any leg to stand on as far as how we are going to heal as a couple. You did this. You created this problem. So why can't I tell you what I need in order for this problem to be resolved? And Dr. Keji says, okay, hold on. We've just had a breakthrough. Please, let's not get into argument. Why don't we have a cup of tea? Let's get some tea. Can I get the new assistant to bring in some tea for us? And they agree. And she calls and she says, please, can we have some tea, 3 cups of tea? And drops the phone, and now they start talking. And Dr. KG says, Mercy, I'm not here to try and talk you out of wanting to speak to Marie. We all heal differently. People need different things in order to heal. And I'm not here to try and deter or interfere with your healing process. I'm here to facilitate it. I will, however, say to you that my concern with this is that when there has been infidelity or something in a relationship that, equals some sort of betrayal, there's always going to be a party. Sometimes in instances, both parties are feeling very vulnerable. They're feeling very shaky. They feel that the foundation kind of crumbling beneath them. And sometimes when you're in that vulnerable position, it's easy to be very reactive. It's easy to be sensitive to certain things. Sometimes those things may not even be there, but you're reacting. And that's my only fear. My fear is that something may come up that isn't enough to get upset about, but because you're feeling emotional, rightfully so, because you're feeling raw and sensitive, rightfully so, you may take it a certain way or react. And Mercy is like, I get what you're saying, Doc, but I need this. While she's talking, the tea lady walks in and she kind of stops at the entrance and, Dr. Keji says, no, come and set up there. And again, Mercy just couldn't really be bothered with the lady who's walked in. She says, Doc, I get exactly what you're saying, For me, I feel like I've heard Michael's version. I've heard what he has to say, but I also want to sit down with Marie and understand what exactly did she think she was doing. I want her to understand that for me, again, this is so much deeper than just the heartache, the pain, the issue of possibly even a sexually transmitted disease and all of those things. The bigger issue that I'm struggling with is the spiritual aspect. And you know us, we're Nigerian women, we're African. This is a very spiritual thing. We understand the spiritual thing. And Michael didn't understand it before either until I started taking him to my church. So he understands the spiritual implication of bringing somebody else into your marital bed, into your space, into your marriage. And I'm hoping by having a conversation with her, number one, I can get that through to her that, Mommy, it's deeper than just the fact that you have this affair with my husband and my feelings are hurt and I'm feeling insecure now and I'm doubting myself in my marriage. You have brought spiritual baggage into this dynamic. I don't know who you have been with in the past. I don't know what your beliefs are. I don't know much about you. But there is a spiritual implication here. And I need you to understand that. And then she was like, another thing that I want to be able to say to her is that I don't blame you for what has happened here. You didn't take vows. My husband did. I'm not angry with you. But as a woman, and when she said this, Dr. Ikeji really, she's been seeing this couple for 6 months. 6 months. So she knows it. When Mercy keeps on reiterating she's not angry, Dr. Ikeji feels that. She feels that actually Mercy's anger really isn't directed at Marie. She's being very sincere when she says this. Mercy says, I'm not angry at her. I want her to know I'm not angry at you, Mommy. It's not even about you. But as a woman, from woman to woman, I want you to understand that having read those emails, I saw that you want to be married. You want to have children. And I want to sit down with you as a sister, as a mother, as a girlfriend. Perhaps you don't have people in your space who are having these very open and honest conversations and also spiritual conversations with you, that you need to be careful of these spiritual ties you come in and you create with people's partners, people who have already been bound. They're already one in God's eyes. I want her to understand that one day you're going to be me. You're going to be a married woman. You're going to be somebody who wants to protect and honor your union, your holy union. And there's going to be women who are going to be trying and testing it. They're going to be men who are trying and testing it. And this is the advice I want to offer her as a girlfriend. Like, be very careful of it, because all of this has consequence. While she's talking, Michael and Dr. Ikeji are kind of just looking at each other, and they're allowing Mercy to just talk and let her feelings out. And the more she speaks, the clearer it is that she's not looking to attack Marie. She's not looking to have some brawl or some dirty, nasty confrontation. She just wants her to understand that there's something so much deeper and bigger here than you guys being hot for each other. There's something real. There is something very spiritual in all of this, and it needs to be resolved because she takes it very seriously. Mercy takes it very seriously. And Dr. Keji looks at her and says, Mercy, I'm going to ask you this for the last time, and then I'm going to honor your response. Are you sure that you want to have this conversation with Marie? And she says, yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. There's no talking me out of it. And she says, okay. And she looks up at the tea lady, at the assistant. And the tea lady turns around and she's looking at Michael and especially at Mercy. And she's got tears coming down her eyes. And Mercy is very confused, like, what is going on here? And Dr. Ikeji says, Marie, please take a seat. And so Marie takes a seat. And now Mercy is looking at them like, what is going on? Now, let me tell you guys a little something. When they left their session last week, Michael and Mercy kept on having this argument because Michael, again, was adamant he did not want Marie and Mercy to sit and have a conversation, but Mercy was not having it. She let Michael know this conversation is going to happen. I do not want to hear it. Do not make me go and message this woman by myself. Do not make me do that, because it will be worse. This conversation is going to happen. And so Michael, not knowing what to do, being at his wit's end, went back to Dr. EKG, had the conversation with her. He booked a private session. He had a conversation with her, and he told her, Dr. EKG, this is really the last option. This conversation has to happen. She's made it clear that she doesn't want anything else. This conversation needs to happen. Otherwise, the alternative is we go our separate ways, because we can't do this in our house anymore. It's been 6 months of arguing, of anger, of pain, of hurt, of frustration, of confusion. This is the last step. This is the only thing I know to do. So I'm coming to you because I'm hoping you can be the person to facilitate it. I know you don't think it's a good idea, but are you willing to help? And Dr. KG said, of course. She wants to see this couple win. She wants to see Michael and Mercy win. And so she says, okay. So this wasn't some sort of, yes, Mercy was blindsided, but not so much, because she asked for this. And so while Mercy's kind of looking confused, Dr. Keji says, Mercy, I'm sorry if you feel blindsided. So this is what has happened. Michael came to me during the week and he said you guys were having a lot of friction in the house, and that this was something that you kept on saying you wanted, that you needed to sit and speak with Marie. And basically we've brought Marie here as you've requested, and it's happening here in my office so that it's a controlled conversation, a controlled environment. And yeah, perhaps maybe we could start with Marie, because Marie has clearly heard everything you've said. Are you okay with that? And Mercy says, yes, absolutely, I'm okay with that. And Michael's just sitting there like, and Marie is clearly, visibly upset, crying. Her nose is running. She's just puffed up, red, just really not in a good space. And she says to Mercy, first of all, I just want to start off by saying, I'm not here to make any excuses for my behavior, about my behavior. I'm here because Dr. EKG called me up, let me know what the situation is. Let me know that Michael had requested that I come here, that it was obviously your wish, and I'm here to honor that. Dr. EKG recommended that, suggested that I come here and I just explain myself. So I'm sorry if it comes across as an excuse. I'm just going to explain it. Then she moves on to say, Michael and I had been dating for X amount of years, and we never really had that conversation that it was done. It was one of those things where our careers were both taking off in different spaces. I was doing my stuff here, he was doing his stuff there. And before I knew it, there was just this divide, and this almost, we kind of went our separate ways, but there was never really a conversation. And in my mind, it never really felt done. And the truth is, it should have felt done when Michael got married, when the both of you got married, but it still didn't. And Michael came to Paris, we ran into each other, we exchanged contact information, we started talking, and I realized that he was feeling very much what I've been feeling. And the conversation should have ended there, but it didn't. We continued to talk. I was being very emotional. Truth be told, I was not thinking about you. I was not considering you. It was easy to block you out because I'd never met you. If this wasn't happening now, we probably would have never met. And my focus was really Michael. As selfish as it is, that's the truth. My focus was Michael. And what happened, and we ended up doing stuff we were not supposed to be doing. And I want you to understand that. And I'm so sorry for just upsetting you. I'm so sorry about this. And Michael is just looking at her, and Dr. EKG, Michael's getting very irritable now. He's getting very irritable, notably so. And Dr. EKG says, Michael, Mercy, is there anything you want to say? And Michael says, not at this point. And Mercy says, Marie, I want you to understand, I'm not mad at you. And I feel I need to say that looking in your eyes. I'm not angry at you at all. I just wanted you to understand that what you have tampered with or been a part of tampering with, because this very much falls on my husband. It very much falls on him. He was the one who made the vows. But what you have participated in tampering with is something so far beyond what I think you understand. I don't know your belief system. I don't know how spiritual you are, but I'm assuming if you did, perhaps you would not necessarily have gone down this route. But I also wanted to appeal to you as a woman and let you know that one day you're going to be me. You're going to be a married woman. And I really hope for your sake, you don't meet another you. And Michael and Dr. Ikeji are just watching this and they're keeping dead quiet. Now, that conversation didn't go over with Marie very well. She's just looking at Mercy talking and talking and talking. And then she says, I'm sorry to interject, but I have to say that I get that part. But again, this is all Michael. Michael's clearly saying something very different to you because him and I started this. And before it got physical, before we actually did what we did, this was very much an emotional thing. For months, Michael and I were getting close, we're reconnecting, we're rehashing, we're reminiscing. This is something that both him and I were very much a part of. And just to be clear, on this hand, he's telling me he loves me. So I'm not just going in on it. This man is telling me he loves me, so I can't let go. And at this point, Mercy looks over at Michael. And Michael says, Marie, do not go there. Do not even go there. You know I love you as a friend. I've got love for you, but I'm not in love with you. I've told you this before. And Mercy says, but you shouldn't be telling any woman that you love them. You're a married man. Why are you telling any woman that you love them? You shouldn't be telling anybody that but me. She catches herself because she realizes what she doesn't want is to allow her relationship to start falling apart in front of his ex. So she catches herself and she keeps dead quiet. And Mercy then responds, Michael, again, you and I had been communicating. You could have stopped it at any point. I was not forcing you. There was no gun to your head. I was not forcing you. We continued with this emotional thing. And then it got physical. We didn't just sleep together once with each other. We slept together more than once. So you can understand how it would be confusing to me when you're telling me you love me. And I'm taking it that way. Michael at this point is frustrated. He's mad. And this is the first time in this conversation that it's occurring to Michael that actually she's not here to help, here to contribute or to be a part of any reconciliation. He realizes for the first time in this conversation, Marie has an agenda of her own. She's come here for her own thing. And Dr. Ikeji picks up on it too. She realizes that this Marie that I was speaking to, this woman who wanted to come in and kind of redeem herself, was not here for peace and kumbaya. No, she was here to do some things that Dr. Ikeji was not okay with. And so she said, okay, I'm going to table this conversation here. I think out of respect for the fact that this is a marriage that we're speaking about, this back and forth is not going to happen. So I'm going to stop the conversation here. I'm also going to say that we've all heard each other's sides. I think it's important that, again, we honor and we remember that there is a marriage on the line here. And so this conversation needs to come to an end. Marie, is there anything else you want to say? And Marie just looks at her. Michael, is there anything you want to say? No, I'm good. Mercy, is there anything you want to add? Based on what Marie said. And Mercy says, there's nothing I can say. It's clear she didn't come here for some sort of reconciliation or to even understand me. It feels like at this point she's excusing her behavior and quite frankly is not remorseful about it. And I can't control that. So I would rather just disengage at this point. And she says, okay. And then Dr. Ikeji says, just so that we all leave on the same page and we understand what's happening here. Michael, is this affair over? We need to understand that. Is this affair over? Your wife needs to understand that. And Michael says, yes, it's been over. I've already told Marie that. I stopped speaking to her months ago. If Mercy hadn't insisted on us meeting, we wouldn't be talking even now. I haven't unblocked her. That's the reason, Dr. KG, I even asked you to be the one to initiate the conversation with Marie because I didn't want to bring her in again. I'm done. It's over. And she says, okay. Then she looks at Marie and she says, Marie, thank you very much for coming and agreeing to sit down and speak with us. Have you heard what Michael has said? Do you understand Michael when he says to you, this affair is over? Do you hear him and do you understand him? And she says, I mean, I hear him perfectly clear, but no, this relationship is not over. It's absolutely not over. Tell them, Michael. Tell them why it's not over. Tell them what you did.